Hello.
Hello. Notice who isn't here.
He might have fallen asleep, might be taking a nap, but he's got the link, so maybe he will join us
Maybe.
late. We'll see.
I mean, will he lose points for not attending? I don't know.
Well, if he doesn't attend McStreamy, then Zen's just going to hold her lead for a little longer.
Oh, maybe if he doesn't show up, I'll get all his points. Boy, that's a waste of
That would be
points.
funny.
That's a waste of points. When's the
Well,
last
you
time
would
I
get free merch.
got a point? I know.
I don't think you have a point this year, actually.
Or last year, or the year before.
I don't know. Actually, I don't know. No, I don't know. You don't think you do?
I don't think I know. But you know what? I don't want a necktie. I don't think that's a good look for me.
It would for you, it would be like yoga pants or something would be the prize.
Yeah, I mean yoga pants.
But right off the bat, I wanted to say, Mark, welcome back to membership.
Welcome, Mark.
And
Glad you're
Coro, thank you for gifting 5 memberships, which went to Bluefish, Elfish, Tanks, Whips World, Capri's P, and Car, Coro Aquatic Reef.
Coro, that was so nice of you. Thank you.
And let's see.
Why is Myrtle's replacement up on panel? Is Zenny now Myrtle's replacement? Wow.
I'm holding out hope for Myrtle to show up. I think he just fell asleep.
Zenny, you are 100%. You have an open invitation for what
you're of course.
Anytime, any week, you are always welcome. Always.
And I'm sure that is very motivating for her to jump up on panel right now.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, you are welcome always. You are welcome anywhere in my life. If you want to just visit me, like, you're welcome. So Tommy says Lululemon yoga pants for Kelly. We got it.
Is Lululemon a good brand of yoga pants?
Yes, I usually buy my yoga pants from Athleta. That's my brand of choice. They last a really, for ladies out there who want yoga pants, they do last a long time. I've had pairs that are like 7 years old now. So, like they cost a lot, but
are the What the Fish yoga pants holding up? No.
Let me just say this. It's a good thing I had on a long dress at the Clash.
Uh-oh. They split?
In a very, like, the worst place.
Oh, I might take those off the site then. Because, yeah, like, I have no way of quality testing the yoga pants.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, okay. Glad I had a dress, because I had on like a knee-length dress at the Clash. But I had worn them, like, maybe once or twice to actually do yoga in. So they had been washed a couple times.
Yeah, well, that's still not very durable at all.
Well, also, like, if something gets a hole in your knee or something, like, right, whatever, or if like the ankle seam frays, like, it's annoying, but like right there.
Yeah, that's not a good place to split. Okay, good to know. That sucks.
So yeah, I don't know if anyone else got them, but if you did,
I don't think so.
Like, wear a skirt with
well, don't get them if you were thinking about getting them. I'm gonna take them off the site. So I can at least vouch for like the shirts being fine. I have the pajama pants; they're fine.
The grocery bag is the grocery bag is good. The towels are good. I would say I have 2 of them now. They're pretty good. I mean, they do towel things.
They dry the things. They wipe the things.
Yeah, I have a tank top. It's fine. It's a little low cut, I think. Like,
oh, you have the flowy one, right?
I have the flowy one, and like
that's the one from spring.
Yeah, I do think it's a little. It cuts through about here, which I like to wear my tank tops a little higher than that at yoga because, like, I don't know. I just don't want my boobs falling out. So
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, everybody's body is different, so maybe it wouldn't be so low cut on everybody.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily recommend anything
Yeah.
from Teespring, honestly.
And he says, I guess they don't have a reinforced gusset.
No. So
No.
it's split right at the popcorn shrimp.
Yeah, so and they have a seam right there, whereas like
Oh,
the yoga pants I'm wearing don't have a seam there because they have a gusset, like an actual gusset. So
interesting.
which is nice because like, you're doing poses where you're in the splits.
Yeah.
Your legs are open up and you just don't want your crotch out. So yeah,
Yeah.
nobody wants that. Yeah.
Well, at least it's split while you were wearing a dress
I had
and
a
not
dress on.
in the
So
middle of yoga.
yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I had a dress on. It was a knee length dress. Nobody could see anything, but
Hmm.
well,
So
Val
Isama
loved
wants
it.
to know, are there any plants that don't do well with an H2O2 treatment?
So,
Moss
yeah,
would be a
moss.
no-go.
Probably like Pelia doesn't. I don't know. I've never
Anything
tried
with a
it.
weak anything with a weak cellular structure, like probably
Yeah,
most mosses and the what's it called? The Siswasser tongue,
so
probably not so
Svasata.
much.
Yeah, so the thing about moss is it doesn't have true vasculature. It has just really it absorbs everything. Not it doesn't have roots. Everything is absorbed just through cell contact with
Mm,
the water. Okay, so most mosses grow on land, right, in moist environments. So they're really weak plants. If they don't, vasculature is what gives plants their strength. So like a tree is made of reinforced vasculature, right? That's what wood is. So
okay.
yeah, I mean they're really kind of wussy plants. Yeah, I mean I think
Yeah.
what other things probably be okay.
So Coro
You
said
can always do a
Val,
patch
possibly.
test. Yeah, I don't know. I've never tried it on Val because Val doesn't isn't really an algae magnet in my experience.
Yeah, you've got algae on Val. Just trim that off because if your Val is
It grows pretty
established, it's
quick.
going to just start
Yeah, it's just
shooting
like
up.
if you have stem plants that have algae on them, just cut cut them off and throw them out.
Hmm.
They'll grow back. Mostly, I would use peroxide on things like Anubias, Java ferns that grow a little slower
Yeah.
that you want to try to save. But your first line of defense should be to throw out infected tissue, cut it out and just throw it out. So if you have like Java fern that has BBA on it, like I would just cut away the bad leaves and throw them out. Is a better. I think it's a better move. Um, and I would use things like peroxide more for hardscape.
Yeah, and I get there's for certain plants, like if you've got a nubius and you don't have CO2, like the reluctance to start cutting that up because it might be a
I
month
know.
before it starts growing a
Yeah,
leaf
I mean,
again.
it hurts, but ultimately the plant is going to put its energy into making new clean leaves.
Yeah,
So
versus trying to save the
yeah,
doomed leaf anyway.
yeah, definitely. So I think that it's I always think it's a good idea to just cut things away. You can always do a patch test. If you're concerned, take
Hmm.
out one little plantlet. Don't do your whole all the value
Yeah,
have.
so
Just try
when
it.
we're talking about peroxide treatment, are we talking about fogging it in the tank, or are we
Which I
talking
would not
taking
do.
it out and dipping it into the
Yeah,
3% solution for 5 minutes or so?
which I wouldn't fog your tank because I think it's more effective to use a syringe and spot treat or take things out and spot treat.
Well, that's what I mean, like fog
Yeah,
it in that area because it's all going to dissipate within a few minutes anyway.
right. But
But
you can always take a plantlet out, treat that,
that's what I usually do. Yeah.
and see how it goes.
But there's
Um,
also that 1-2 punch method. I don't know if you've ever read about that, where you don't like you take your filter media out so the peroxide doesn't touch that, but you still maintain like a super high flow in the tank, and then you dose, I don't know, some amount of peroxide per gallon. You let that go everywhere in the tank for like 15 minutes. Then you do a water change followed by some amount of Excel. It's that's why they call it the 1-2 punch, because you're doing back
Yeah.
to back both. I've tried that, and it was not really any more effective than just spot treating, in my experience.
Yeah,
But
and I just don't use Excel. You know,
I don't use it anymore either.
it's poison and it smells terrible, and if you get it on your fingers, you can feel like, oh, this is not good. I mean, it's carcinogenic. I know that there's a dose that's technically considered safe. Your plants can't use it as a CO2 source. That's a myth. um I don't think Excel is a good product. So I kind of don't want to support them, you know, for false advertising. So I never use Excel. Not to say that I've never bought Excel. I have.
Well, hello there.
Hi, sorry, I was
Look,
trying to look for a quiet room. I couldn't find one, and I was just scrambling around the building looking. Yeah, I finally
look what
found one
that
upstairs.
kitty
Yeah.
drag did.
Hey, y'all.
Hi,
Hi.
So I know Usama was dealing with one of his plant holding tanks has an algae issue. He
Yeah.
streamed earlier today. I was working, so I joined late and was only able to like half pay attention between meetings and stuff. So I
Yeah.
think that's what he's looking at, trying to fix that tank.
Yeah. Well, I would individually dip plants. Maybe don't dip each one, you know, if you're concerned about it, if you're worried that it won't withstand the peroxide, but maybe just dip one of the batch, see how it goes, put it back. If it survives, okay, then you can do all of them. But I would take them out and dip them. I think that's more effective.
Yeah.
Okay, Shady Grady has big news. I don't know how, but I have 2 pink flamingo plants actually turning bright pink in 2 different tanks. Well, kudos to you.
And they're turning green right now. No, they're melting. They're gone.
I know. Yeah, I mean, let us know how they're doing in 6 months. 'Cause,
Yeah. 6
Yeah,
months to a
really.
year. Yeah.
yeah. Because I've had them going and doing well for like 8 months, and then
Around the year and a half mark, they
yeah,
usually looking sad or reverting back if they haven't melted
yeah.
already.
If they get any algae, goodbye. If you
Yeah.
don't move them, don't move them. That was a mistake I made. Don't move
Yep.
them. Because I had a nice little patch going, you know.
I
And
never did get any of
moved
mine
them.
to establish. They just
Yeah.
all died a slow, painful death.
No, I
Of the
haven't.
dozens of times I tried, I think I only had success like once or twice. And that too, they
Yeah.
all ended up dying anyway too. So.
Yeah, I had a nice patch, but then I'm like, well, you know, they would look a lot better in a different place. No, that's a bad idea.
Yeah. I
Shouldn't have
did
done it.
research. The research I did on them as I was killing them was like, they'll die under too high light, but no, you need high light. You also need CO2. You need nutritious substrate. No, not too nutritious, because then you'll burn the roots. Like, well, what does this plant want from me?
They're just
It wants to be a diva. That's what it wants to be.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I guess it could be worse. It could be hygrophila chai.
Nah, screw that plant. That's not real.
All of these lab designed plants, generally, they just want to die. They
Yeah,
don't
they
like
do.
to live.
Yeah, yeah.
So in other news, I've been light shopping to get
Ooh.
my first like fancy pants light
Nice.
beyond the Fluval 3.0. And like Aqua Rocks Colorado had started stocking these weak aqua
right.
lights that are like supposed to be the answer to Chihiro's, but maybe a little bit cheaper. It turns out they have several different models. So there's the P series, which seems to be on par with the Chihiro's WRGB2.
Cool.
And it may, I don't know, like tens of dollars cheaper. The problem is the one that I wanted, like the size that I need, they don't make it in that size. They only make it in like the 600 millimeters. So what is that, like 24 inches? I need one shorter than that.
Yeah.
So then I go over to their A series, which is like a super fancy, more powerful than Chihiro's light, and it costs more, and I'm like, I can't think of any scenario in which I would need that kind of light. And then I go look at their other nano lights, and like I look at the lumens, which is all the data I can find on is just the lumens value, and it's like quite a bit lower than Chihiro's. So my decision was I bought a Chihiro's.
Oh,
and I'll
That's
just
a good choice. Yeah.
exciting for me because like, will you figure out how to use the app? Because I have it and I still can't figure out the app, but you could figure out the app and then you could teach
hopefully.
me.
Yeah, he can take a screen recording of him doing everything and then voice
Maybe
it
you
over.
could make a
and
video
everything.
on how to use
Yeah.
the app because like I can't figure it out and I'm supposedly a smart person and I just find that app so hard. But maybe you can do it. You're younger than me.
Mhm.
You're techier than I am.
As
I don't
long as
know.
it works. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's a pain, but eventually if you work on it long enough, it'll work. That's fine. The other thing was Myrtle sent me a testimonial about the Weak Aqua
Yeah.
app, and that wasn't very promising at all.
Yeah, so this guy that we dealt with plants with before, he bought the light from I don't know where he bought it from. I think he bought it from Colorado, Aqua Rock, Colorado. But he said he took a screen recording of him trying to do stuff with the app, and it was just not working. Like to turn the light off, I think he had to turn the app on to get the light to turn off or something. I forgot what it was, but he was fuming at the app. So I advised Steven, take a look at the video before you buy the light.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I can tolerate a wonky, weird, and hard to navigate app, but not one that just decides I'm not going to work today.
Why is it so hard to make a good app for a light?
It's not really hard. It's just people, the companies don't put time into developing the app. They say it's good enough, so we'll put this out to market. So,
I mean, the Fluval 3.0 app is not perfect, but it is
it's
very
nothing special, but it does what it does. Yeah.
It's very intuitive. It's very easy to perform. It's very plug and play.
Yeah.
So, but the Chihiro's app, I don't know. It's just so hard. It's just so hard.
I ordered some other stuff from Aqua Rocks. Of course, the reflector thingies for the light. And then some tissue cultures. I got some Blixa japonica. Give that a shot again.
Favorite. I love it.
What else? I needed some more mermaid weed, and I wanted an Ariel Collins something, but it was out of stock. I forgot what else I ended up getting. I think maybe some Pinna Tafita.
Nice.
Just like plants I've had before, but like for some reason or another, I let them go away.
It happens. So which tank is this going on?
It's the tank that you saw in the bedroom, the small one.
Oh yeah, so you definitely want reflectors for that because like
it'll be right in my
right, because I don't have the reflectors on this one, but like it's not by the TV, it's not my bedroom, like I do have the hanging kit though with the bars, and I'll show everyone.
I might end up having to get that, and it depends.
You can see, boy, that tank looks terrible. But yeah, you can see the bars there.
Go.
Wait, I do like it.
It looks like your light was in the water. Is it?
Did it? No, that was.
Oh,
that was
okay. It was blending in perfectly with the window ledge. I was very confused for a second.
You were concerned. What kind of Aquarius is Kelly?
And what kind of light is Chihiro's where it lives in water when it has open holes and all?
I really need to redo that tank, but I just haven't decided what I want to do. I need to buy a lot of probably tissue cultures to redo it. Also, like, I don't know. I just don't know how to program the damn thing. I mean, I have it programmed. I finally figured it out, but it's so hard. It's so hard.
So it's not just I wouldn't say intuitive. I wouldn't describe the Fluval app as intuitive, but at least like you can figure out at this time I want it to be at this percentage, and then at this time I want it to like and it automatically whatever percentage you set it gradually tapers up or down.
And the spectrum is really easy too because you just slide it where you want it, and I slide all of mine on. I mean, the Chihiro's it is a better light than the Fluval though. It is a better light. It's so much brighter. And the Fluval is about that wide. The Chihiro's is about that wide. So it's like you're getting twice as much light. And so you're getting twice as much front to back coverage. If you hang it, one fixture can do a whole tank because it's wider. It's so much brighter. It has more color spectra, so you can find
Nice.
one that you like. So I mean, it is a better light. It just has a shittier app. But maybe you'll figure it out and you'll be like, no, Kelly, it's easy to program. You just do this. Well,
And
June
I'm
brings up a
holding
good
out hope that apps can be updated. So
yeah.
maybe eventually.
And June brings up a good point here. Do you need that much light? Not everybody does, right?
No.
Like if you're not running CO2, if you have plants that are, low light only, that's fine. If your tank is really shallow, you don't need as much light. But like on this 90, right? It's a deeper tank. I'm running CO2. And like if I had more light on here, my Blixa japonica would definitely be doing a lot better. It would get pinker, it would grow faster. I would notice a difference. So yeah, I mean it just depends what your needs are. Like I'm about to put a 4th Fluval 3.0 on there, I think. So I know it's nuts. It would have been so much cheaper for me to just buy 2 Chihiro's fixtures.
I mean, technically, you can sell the 3 flue balls that you have right now and use that towards buying 2 Chihiros.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never gonna do that. Like, I'm so lazy about selling things. I'm never gonna do it.
But are there enough planted tank aquarists in Indiana who would buy it locally without you having to ship it to someone?
Probably not. No, not in Fort Wayne.
Yeah. The other thing that really intrigues me about the Chihiros is that it's going to be the first light I have that uses like, what is that, the narrow band spectrum, where it's supposed to make all of your red plants like really bring out the red versus just using a bright light.
Yeah, so you can choose what spectra you want. I don't personally like that. I think that the fish look kind of fakey magenta-y. I don't know. It just, to me, everything looks a little too day glow red. But
yeah, like my plant farm when the red lights are on.
Yeah, but it's individual taste. It's what you like. I have mine currently on kind of a bluer setting. It's supposed to be this setting to look good for boost, whatever. But it's what your tastes are.
So Nathan says, it's been 3 days. My CO2 drop checker hasn't changed to green. I turned up the system yesterday. Should I keep going until it changes? It's at like 3 to 4 drops a second, 20 gallons full. I mean, make sure that, that's a good bit.
I was going to say, make sure it's not leaking anywhere, or make sure change your drop checker fluid. Look at the plants.
Look at your diffuser and see where all the little bubbles are. Make sure they're coming out in a good amount, and also like being blown all over the tank with your outflow.
Yeah.
Because if your diffuser's in one corner and the drop checker's in the other corner, the only way the drop checker is going to give an accurate reading, and the only way you're going to get proper dispersal of CO2, is if the diffuser is underneath some flow or it's against some flow, so that the bubbles get blown around. If the CO2 is just going up and out of the tank from where the diffuser is, it's not really dissolving into the water much. So most of it's just going away.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot. I mean, I'm assuming you're in Florida, your water is pretty hard there. So you're going to need a little bit more CO2. But still, like, just to give you some idea, in a 16 gallon, I'm doing like 1 bubble a second. It's, you don't need that much for a smaller tank. No, in these bigger tanks, I'm doing a lot more. So even 2 bubbles a second should be enough to get things done. If you're not seeing good misting of CO2, you probably have a leak. You might want to move where the diffuser is, so the bubbles get blown around the tank. Put it by the outflow. So yeah. Oh no.
Noel Brucker says, I spent payday last week filling a giant cart at Aqua Rocks, Colorado. Their new expansion is awesome. I bet it is. I was just looking online. I spent way too long looking at lily pipes and those little miniature canister filters.
I have the stainless steel lily pipes from them, and I really do like them. I would never get glass lily pipes. I can't handle that. Like the cleaning and I would break them, but the stainless steel ones look really good and they're very durable. Yeah, I mean, imagine how hard it is for Geek Boy, right?
He's really close now. Now on his way to work, it's also there, right? Yeah.
Should I say more like, imagine how hard it is for Geek Boy's wife?
Oh, yeah.
Well, she doesn't have to go.
Well, but he's spending all their money. Dee Dee says, yeah, with the stainless steel ones, you won't see what's inside. Absolutely.
And a lot of stuff won't accumulate inside. The only thing that'll accumulate inside is like beneficial bacteria that grows and then stuff that catches onto it. You won't have algae sticking to it, so yeah.
Yeah.
Much easier to clean than cleaning algae. Beneficial bacteria, you can just wipe it off with your fingers.
Yeah. And very durable too. You don't have to worry about them breaking, and you're not gonna have to go to the emergency room. So yeah.
And June says, when I need more lights, I'm going to get the Aqua Skies 2.0, more options. The Aqua Skies are good for like the medium light tanks when you don't need like the super intense light. I have one of those on a 20.
I don't think they're good for deep tanks. So like I wouldn't put them over a 90 because they just, even a 3.0 like is not a lot of light on a 90 because they're just
2 to 4 of I have 2, and I think with the plants I have in the 90, 2 is okay.
Your 90 is not as deep as mine because yours is longer.
Yeah, because I custom made it 55 inches.
Yeah. So but for a regular standard 90, you can't really have, even 2 is just like, I would call it a low medium light tank. 3, I'm going to call a medium light tank. That's why I'm thinking of getting 4. I use lids though, June, and I don't know if you use lids or not. I would think you would have to. I would think Oscars would jump like crazy.
Yeah, or at least splash the water if they get on the top and then they turn around real fast.
Yeah, and also she's got all those cats, so she's got to protect the tanks.
Oh man, cats. Yeah, I will never have a lidless tank. It's just not what I'm going to do.
Geek says Tommy wants to do another Fishfam giveaway once he's all set up in the new office.
Oh, Tommy's fantastic! Awesome. What a cool guy! I love that store, and yeah, he's a cool guy.
Coro asks, how do y'all manage power bricks? If you don't want to look at my cord management of anything.
My cord management is so bad. Well, okay, here we go.
All right.
Oh God, it's so bad. Oh God.
Oh, that's clean. That's not clean, but it's cleaner than when I had cords.
Shut, Myrtle. The cabinet won't shut.
I've had worse. Kelly, believe
that's so kind of like mine.
Yeah.
That was mine when I had like 17 different filters running on one 30-gallon tank and 4 power heads, and well, not that many, but like an exaggeration.
So bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a problem with cord management. I'm not good at it. I'm not one of those people who like zip ties every cord and then cuts the zip tie. Hi, Mike. Not that person. And
I've zip tied cords with the best intentions, and then I don't like it, and I like have to move something, and then I have to cut all the zip ties because I have to remove a cord.
I went the lazy route to just use tape to tape the cords together, and then I know it gets the sticky stuff on the cord and all, but whenever you want to cut it and then move the tape, I've done.
I have the Velcro ones now.
Oh, that's good.
But to answer Cora's question, how do you manage power bricks? I just buy things that don't have power bricks on them, so they have ballasts in between the cable, instead of having it on the plug
on the wall.
Yeah, instead of having the wall wart part of it, I have it so that it's in between the cable. That's why I like the Fuva light. It has a big ass ballast, but it's not a part of the plug. It's part of the cable, so you can just push it back towards the cabinet or something.
Yeah, I don't think I have any power bricks that really get in the way.
Yeah, but if you buy lights like Hydro lights or Nike lights or any of those Amazon lights, you're going to deal with the wall warts because all of them have the wall warts. But it's cheaper to design that way.
I guess you could use an extension cord.
You could, but if you'd have just a whole bunch of extra cabling to deal with.
Yeah. Whip says Velcro is the way to go. So there you
I've
go.
done Velcro. I actually have some of my power strips are Velcroed like to the underside of a cabinet.
That's how my desk is. I'm just not that intense about the cabling in my fish tank. Like I'll do it for my desk with Velcro and cable management stuff, but not for my fish tank because I'm moving the stuff around so often. So
I think we just have to accept that I'm not a very good person. If I were a good person, maybe, things, my life would be more organized.
blame it on the cats, Kelly. Just say you
Oh,
keep the
it's the
cables
cats.
organized, and then the cats come out and rip it all apart.
It's the cats. It's the cats.
If we're judging our characters based on our cable management, then I am a straight up psychopath. I'm not to be trusted or friends with anyone. Stay away from me.
Yeah, I mean, there are some things we're good at, and cable management is not good at. Is not one of them. Now, apparently, Peplin is great with cable management. All his cables are tidy and labeled and tucked away.
If you had a fish house like they did, you would get good at cable
Yeah, I mean,
management.
they built everything they had for the fish house. They don't use any off-the-market equipment. They built all the stands and most of them, I think. So they probably put cable management into consideration. Yeah.
I'd be even worse. I wouldn't be better. I'd be worse. Because that's how I am. Yeah. Oh, and
Snoochie Booch, welcome back to membership, and I'm glad to see you again. Just the other day, or maybe even yesterday, me and Jenna were talking about how we hadn't seen Snoochie Booch around in a little bit.
It is good to see you, Richard. It's good to see you.
Another one we don't see around a lot is ABC Aquatic Biotope Creations, and Kenny just popped in the chat. Nice.
Hello. How's your baby doing, Kenny?
Yeah.
So exciting.
So Coro asked, if you have multiple lights, do they all need their own smart plug, or do you run a power strip off a smart plug? So I do have I have 3 Fluval Flexes that all turn on at the same time, and I have a little power strip connected to that smart plug, so they all come on at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't know what the wattage limit is, but those lights are weak.
I have Casa smart plugs for my CO2 also. So that's another thing. I mean, the reason it's such a disaster down there is because it's CO2 driving 2 tanks. It's 2 heaters for this. Mm-hmm. It's heaters for that. It's what else is on there? It's the Casa smart plug. The Casa smart plug, and then the Inkbird is down there, and then I haven't run the Inkbird, which I guess you can't see this right there. There's my Inkbird, but I haven't run it around the back yet because I'm lazy, I guess. So that's why I can't shut the cabinet. I don't know. I'm a mess. I'm a mess. Maybe I need Brian to come here and fix it for me and make my life better because not great.
We all need our own Peplin.
We do, but unfortunately, Foxy is hogging him. She is. I know. She's keeping
How selfish,
him
Roxanne.
all to herself. I mean, I have a Jake, and he does many wonderful things, but cord management is not one of them.
See, Geek's got a smart power strip.
Wi-Fi power strip. Yeah, that's what Geek was saying.
Yeah, so Geek got one. Kenny said he has 10. I have 2 or 3 of them actually.
Yeah. So in my office, I have one of those power strips it's massive. It's that big because I have only one outlet in my entire office, which is just dumb. It's a fire hazard waiting to happen. So, I mean, because I have terrariums in there, and then there's my computer, right? So there's computer, monitors, So I have a giant power strip, and it's a fire hazard. I've had to take everything off of that circuit because it'll trip the circuit breaker all the time. I have really old wiring in this house. This house was built in 1911, and it's not great. So
yeah.
Oh, Brian's now bidding himself out, and June suggested we could rent a Peplin. It's a great option. I mean,
hey, that'll bring funds to their fish room, right? Rent a Peplin.
That's right. Just rent it out.
When does Skipper bring back the auctions? Is that next month?
Just auction off Brian. Just auction him off. June says, how many things can be plugged into a wall outlet? Please do not say 4. You know
I've
what?
definitely done more than 4, and I felt
Yeah,
afraid whenever I plugged something else in.
So this is what
I'm
I
not a morning
gauge.
person.
I don't gauge the outlet first, like whatever amperage your breaker is, but feel the cable that's going to the outlet that you have like all 40 of your plugs on. Feel that cable. If it is warm, then that's bad. You don't
Yeah.
want the cable to be warm or hot.
Yeah, because that means
It
too much
needs to be able
electricity
to.
is passing it through it for the cable to handle.
That's going to be a fire.
So my biggest problem is I had my office, the pond, my aquarium all on one breaker, which is just dumb. It's just the way it is because of the way my house is. And then in the winter, I would get cold, and I have this little like electric blanket that I like to wrap myself in. No, it's too much, and it would trip the breaker. So
Yeah, Salient says in
someone
your
had to
house you
get
have
rid of
15 amps. 15 amps is pretty much the standard. I've got one or two that are 20 amps, like the entertainment center area is a 20 amp circuit, but yeah, 15 to 20 is what usually you've got.
Yeah. I mean, older houses are going to have better wiring. I mean, sorry, newer houses are going to have better
Mhm.
wiring, and they're going to have like every outlet is going to be a GFCI outlet, which I have outlets that are not. I have old outlets, not all of them, but some of them. So my aquariums are plugged into the new outlets, but like I have lamps on the old outlets, and this house has got problems. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you can go more than 4. It just depends on what kind of power draw they are. Like you can't put 4 space heaters on an outlet.
Yeah.
That's how you burn your house down.
Yeah, I've got this portable air conditioner in the bedroom, and if I'm running the portable AC and the computer's on and the TV's running, and then I try to make coffee, it'll trip the circuit.
Yeah, the other thing that really trips it for me is my electric tea kettle. Like that has to be on its own outlet when I use it because I make tea every day, so and that's a huge energy draw
Mhm.
because it's boiling.
Just pure heat. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really a huge energy draw. Yeah. So
It's
Salient
Plushy
says,
Aquatic's birthday
Oh,
today.
happy birthday,
happy
Christopher.
birthday, Plushie. I hope you have a good day. So Salient says that he has an associate's in electrical. That's awesome because I
So
don't
now
know
we know who
anything
to
about
hire
it.
when we build our fish garages and fish houses and
Hmm.
stuff. He'll do
Yeah,
all the electrical.
I'm not knowledgeable. I mean, I took when I took physics, I had to learn circuits, and I was really bad at it. Really, really bad at it.
When I
So
was a computer engineering major, I had to take a circuits class, but then I changed my major, and so I didn't have to take it anymore. Got to
I didn't
drop
know
that
you
one.
started as a computer engineering major.
Oh yeah, I had big
Yeah.
aspirations when I was a freshman in college.
You know what? You still would have ended up in corporate America. No different.
Hmm.
No different.
Let's see. 186 Element says, Steven, being a Fluval Flex 15 owner, any light upgrade recommendations? I'm willing to ditch the lid if necessary. One of my Fluval specs, which similar light, they're all kind of on the same par. I'm getting the Chihiros, which is
Oh.
an insane upgrade, really.
It's an upgrade.
You're
It's like
basically
There,
going from nothing to an actual light. So
I mean, it's
yeah,
like
like you
going
could
from
get
a
a Higer or a
Pinto
Night
to a
Crew,
I
and
was
that
gonna
would be
say anything's
yeah,
a good upgrade from the
yeah.
default in kit lights that the Fuval tanks have.
Hmm.
I just don't like the lighting they have on any of those lights that the other tanks that have the filters built in, the Fuval ones. None of the lights are good, I don't think, especially for the smaller ones.
Let's see.
Kenny says working in theater as an electrician, he's run some serious power. That's right. Those lights are intense. Like
Yeah.
they draw a lot of power, and there's a
We
lot
had
Electricity
of
scares the shit
yeah.
out of me. I don't
yeah.
I do not try to maximize and push things to the limit. And yeah, I'm afraid of electrical fires. I'm afraid of getting shocked and electrocuted. So
Yeah,
yeah.
so in our middle school gym, in middle schools the stage is in the gym as well. So we had in the back we had a special plug just for the spotlights because they were really old, and we would run 4 spotlights off of one f- off of one wood riser, I guess, and then they would all plug into one area in the wall. So we had a special plug just for the spotlights to use. So yeah, I know theater stuff. They
And
get hot too, so we know they
they
burn a
do.
lot of
And
electricity.
you have like, I mean, you're younger than I am, so they make LED spotlights now,
Oh
but
no, they
like,
were old. We had ones from like we had old spotlights that we had
yeah,
custom buy bulbs
Mm.
for whenever they bulb burnt out. Yeah,
yeah, those are
none of
serious
yeah.
power
We
draws.
didn't have money for the arts program in our schools, so we had old ass equipment. I cuss. We had old equipment. So yeah, everything
Oh my God, you
soundboard,
cussed?
lights. Yeah, the soundboard
I
lighting
don't
all
even know
was
what an
really
arc
old.
fault breaker
I
is.
don't know what any
That's
of that
yeah,
means. I do know what testicles are, though.
yeah.
I know what that is.
Staple
That's the
to their
bot that Rico
leg.
uses.
That's right, the two testicles.
Indeed.
Which, Rico, if you're listening, I miss you. I
Yeah,
miss
we miss you,
you.
Rico.
I miss
Hmm.
you. Anyways.
Rico's got a birthday coming up
Ooh,
Sunday.
Oh, that's exciting.
What is a pyration and what constitutes being big ass?
I mean, I have
well,
a
I
big
said
ass. I'm just saying.
I don't remember what I said that sounded like pyration. Probably a platform. I don't know what I said,
No,
but
I
big ass
said
was
big
big.
aspirations
Oh,
Oh.
ass.
when I was a freshman in
I was like,
college
what
because
did
I
I
majored in
say that sounded
engineering
like?
thinking I could handle that.
You know, I started as a biology major. I finished as a biology major. I got a PhD in biology. I just never changed. I'm not good at anything else.
Oh, so
Before
Gary
we switch
said, I've
topics,
lost fish. Said I've
Oh,
lost fish and doing a water change. Any tips besides limiting the percent water change, checking the temp of water added, checking the parameters of the water added, water treatment for chloride? Any tips besides those things?
have you tested your tap water? Is it loaded with like ammonia or something? Like, is it nasty to drink? Because
Yeah, I would assume that he's looked at all that and is
Mhm.
probably like at a
yeah,
loss for like why the hell these fish die from a water change.
because I'll change like 80%.
Yeah.
I have good, clean tap water. It's always good throughout the year. My municipality uses chlorines, not chloramines.
Mhm.
Um,
Do you live in
so,
an area where they switch water sources a couple times a year depending on
oh
the
yeah, that
season? If that's the case, have you noticed that there's a particular time of the year when you've had issues with fish and this time around fish losses?
yeah.
Does your water
Yeah, was
smell
was
when you
this like
drink
a
it? Is it yeah.
one time thing, or has it been have you been losing fish like on a regular basis
And I would
because
say,
RO?
that yeah, if you're a person that your tap water is killing fish, oh God, you're using RO. So are you are
Have you replaced the
you Are you
pardon?
adding back GH?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Wait, it
Yeah,
was a one-time thing. If it was a one-time thing, it's hard to say, you know?
Yeah.
it could also be a
Like,
total coincidence.
yeah, I would say it's probably a coincidence because lots of people out there are doing big weekly water changes and everything is only happier. So
Yeah,
I think I would assume it's coincidence. If you're using RO though, make sure that you are remineralizing and you're doing it
yeah,
right, like you're using the right amount, you're using the right stuff.
yeah. He said he remineralizes. I would assume that he's been doing RO water changes without issue, and then this one time happened. The other thing I would say, like I with my RO system, it doesn't quite get rid of chloramine because you would
Oh,
have to be like a long exposure time to
Mhm.
the carbon.
oh
So I
really?
do still use the chlorinator whenever I add
Interesting.
RO water just in case. That would because
Interesting.
that's just with chloramine. If I had chlorine, it would all whether it removed it or not, it would all gas off sitting there in the trash can for a while.
Mhm.
I can't even detect chlorine in my tanks. I could probably skip using the chlorinator. I won't because
Hmm.
these are too precious. But like outside my ponds, I use the chlorinator.
Yeah, Luke says check your filters too. Chloramine
Mhm.
wrecks carbon filters much faster than chlorine. That's good for me to know too.
Thank you, Luke. That is good to know. Oh, that sucks though. But if it's a one-time thing, I do think it's probably a coincidence. Especially since you use RO water, you're remineralizing it. I'm really sorry. That sucks. Like when you have fish die and you can't explain it, like it sucks.
I'm dealing with that right now with my Adolphoid Cory tank. I had lost some a couple of weeks ago, then like a week later lost another one, then recently lost another one. Every single other one is swimming around fine, like nothing's wrong. And they're all like, I've checked their bellies, posted pictures of that on Fishcord. I cannot figure out what the hell is going on with them, but
Sucks.
I did an RO water change the other day. They laid eggs, and I've got like 4 of them were viable. It'll hatch probably any day now.
Yeah.
So,
God, that
but
sucks.
it's weird. I know it's
Yeah.
mystery death. Like that, I'm
Yeah.
reluctant to medicate or do anything other than fresh
Right.
water because I don't see anything wrong with them. I don't know what I would dose with.
Yeah, and I think that you can make fish worse by medicating them the wrong
Mhm.
way.
Yeah.
I mean, just like you
Because that's
can
just
with people.
doing, it's just killing their organs, if the medications, if they're not doing anything to the actual disease that you're going through.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm sorry though. Wow, that sucks. It sucks.
Oh Lord, Geek has his breaker box on the outside of the house, so
Oh,
so
In the
much
cold,
fun
yeah.
to trek out in the snew every morning in the middle of winter to test the breaker, to rest the
Oh,
breaker.
that's so weird. I've never heard of that before. Like, I've never heard of that. They're always well. We live in places with basements, so they're always in basements. Where are your breakers, Steven? You don't have a basement.
In the back room, it used to be the garage. It was converted to living space. It's where Jenna's office is. It's just in the back
Okay.
Yeah,
closet.
ours are in the garage too, yeah.
Yeah, everyone well, not everyone, but I would say 95% of houses in the Midwest have basements. So they're always in the basement. So,
Sketty wants to know, what do my plants need if the leaves are small, curled, and kind of hard?
I would need to see a picture. That's kind of weird.
And every
So
time
they're
I look at
stunted.
deficiency, I forget which one looks like which. So I always look at the diagram. I just have a printout of it in my fish tank cabinet. It sounds like
Is
either
that the
calcium or
iron
magnesium. I
one?
can't remember.
No,
That
that
doesn't
one
make the
is
leaves brittle, though,
yellow.
does it?
Oh.
Yeah,
No, that's
the yellow leaf.
chlorosis.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
chlorosis is that. And that one's easy to find online. It's usually not a deficiency of a nutrient, though. It's usually lighter CO2. I know you live a place where your water is hard.
I
Because
don't
you're
know
from
what makes the plant leaves brittle, though. Like, because he said it's kind of
Yeah,
hard.
well, there's
I
so
guess
much.
maybe if it's small and curled, I guess that's why she's thinking it's a little brittle because it isn't
there's
spread out much. Yeah.
there's so much hardness in her water that it's like
It's just
build up
calcifying the
on them.
plants. It's turning them. It's like turning trees into petrified wood.
It's just everything is hard there. So because you don't inject CO2, which is okay, but you are, you're fighting an uphill battle
Yeah.
in Iowa.
If they're curling like
Water's
this,
so hot.
like if they're vertically curling, it's probably CO2. But if they're curling in a way that it's curling horizontally and inward into the stem again, that you sometimes is calcium because found that adding calcium helps the plant.
No,
But
don't
since your
add
water is so hard, you don't
add
need to add. Yeah.
Well, I
Since your
mean,
water is so hard, it probably if it has calcium hardness, not any other minerals, it probably does not have to be calcium.
Yeah,
well,
don't add
test
calcium.
your
You live
shit
in
before you
Iowa.
add anything to
Yeah.
anything.
Of course, yeah.
Like,
I always
you can
when
do
you
a
ask,
calcium test or even just a GH test will tell
No,
you.
yeah, don't add calcium. You live in Iowa, which means Iowa's over an ancient aquifer.
oh, that works there. Okay. Yeah.
Everything is made of calcium carbonate.
She
Everything.
says,
not
I have
calcium.
RO now, so
Oh, you have
she's already.
RO?
Oh, okay.
So whatever she's not putting in her water is what
Yeah.
she's deficient in. I guess.
Or
I
you're
don't
not
know.
remineralizing enough with the salsa
Yeah,
with
you've got a
the
GH
GH kit.
boost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Could be light though.
it could be light. Yeah.
Depends on how it's curling. If the plant is curling, like once again, if it's curling sideways and into itself, it's generally not going to be light.
Usually plants look leggy that need more light.
Mhm.
So Luke
It
says
does sound a lot like calcium, yeah, because that's what I've done. I
Yeah.
have ground up eggshells. I didn't buy calcium supplements. I just have ground up eggshells from years ago that I still use. Every time I added it, the plants look better. So
Yeah, or you
Mhm.
can buy GH Boost that works really
Mhm.
well, but you are going to need to add something. And if you have like, let's say you're keeping live bearers, like they're going to suck all of that out of the
Mhm.
water because they need it.
And if you
So
add calcium, and if you're adding large enough amounts, you also need to add magnesium just to balance it out. So, like, if you,
yeah,
that is, so if
Yeah,
you get the
there's
GH boost, it's. I think GH boost is balanced in both. It has a
it's
balance
a
of it.
1 to
So
4 ratio, magnesium
yeah.
to calcium, I think. I know there's like some kind of magic ratio that
well,
the Planet Tank people insist on. I don't remember what it
well,
was
and
though.
but the thing is, this is like those molecules have different weights. They're
Mhm.
different molecular weights.
Mhm.
So is it stoichiometrically 4 to 1 or is it by weight 4 to 1? But if you use a GH boost, a commercially
Mm.
available one, it will have the right ratio in
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
We're getting into reefing concepts. No, I don't know. I don't understand any of that.
no.
So is it all, Sketty, is it all of your plants are looking stunted like that and curly, or
Oh yes,
just
it's yeah.
a
That yeah.
certain ones that are, you said stem plants, but maybe
If
you
it,
have
main, if
more
it
of them?
mainly
And,
Ludwigias generally show calcium deficiencies much faster than other stem
Mm,
species, especially the longer leafed Ludwigias. Coral says wait. He has something to
wait,
tell.
can you send
we're
a
waiting.
picture to Steven? And
Yep.
so Sarah says she uses a mix that's good. So you might just need more of that mix. Like a
Mhm.
little, you could try adding a little bit more. So Zenny says she uses one magnesium per 3 calcium. So it
Per two
depends on
hour.
what the counter ion is on that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I've used the GH powder from Aqua Vitro. I've used the one from Seachem.
You
I've
Nylac
used
G.
Nylock G, and
Yeah.
they're all fine, and they're all different too. Like the powders have potassium in them as well. The Aqua Vitro one is like a liquid that is supposed to be like the ultimate Planet Tank one, but yeah, it's expensive and the other ones work just fine.
Minerals are minerals. I mean,
Hmm.
So, Coro wants to know if we can go into some basic math available for doing remineralizing and dosing. There are online calculators for dosing your tank. I think there's one. It's called Rotala Butterfly. Is the
Yeah,
website.
yeah, I've used that
There's an
before.
AI
Yeah.
dosing calculator, and I think it also has calcium and magnesium dosing on that. And it's
Mm,
really easy to use, and you can just follow that, and then you can get it in
yep.
teaspoons.
Yep, and also gives you the weights,
Mhm.
the rough measurements, ears and spoons, and then the actual milligrams or grams, whatever it is.
Yes, Rotala Butterfly, if someone could find the link to that. That's the
Now,
calculator I've
when I
used.
dose GH powder, I have a big tablespoon because I have no GH in my water at all, even in my tap water. And so I generally, if I'm doing a 20-gallon, like a 50% water change in a 20-gallon, it's just 1 tablespoon of the powder. And
Yeah.
the numbers fluctuate all the time. And I have found that it does not matter as long as
Yeah.
I have some in there.
There's a range that is
It's a
acceptable.
wide range. Yeah.
Yeah. So Sarah says she has the tiny spoons. That's good for things like
Small tank.
phosphate and nitrate to smaller tanks,
Mhm.
but you might need some bigger spoons for that, like
Yeah.
tablespoon or 2
Yeah,
tablespoons.
unless you want to spend a whole lot of time just
Yeah,
scooping
like
that little
the
tiny little
Nylock
baby.
G, the Nylock G GH powder is 1 tablespoon gives you a boost 6 degrees GH boost. So that's how
For
I do
how many gallons?
for 10 gallons.
Okay. So if you're changing 50 gallons of water, you have to add like 2.5 tablespoons.
Yeah,
Yeah, because that'd give you a 5-degree boost, and that's enough.
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Real
But
quick,
Now this,
yeah.
mm,
Oh, real quick, Nathan. So you're talking about your CO2. I just wanted to like show on this tank. So there's a power head right here, and it's moving flow like this. So you can see the CO2 is not going straight over here. The CO2 is not going straight up. It's actually going at an angle. So you want to make sure the CO2 is that you want to make sure that your CO2 is doing that. It's not going
yeah.
straight up. Yeah.
So, and for
Like,
those of us who use inline diffusers, like I can see, so I have my spray bars here, and I can see an arc of bubbles going all the way across the top of this,
Mhm.
and it's not going just straight up and going out.
so I don't know the answer to this. Is all drop checker fluid equal, or is there better drop
I mean,
checker fluid?
as long as it's not old, like
Yeah.
as long as it's not like 5 years old, it's all the same. I've even made my own in the lab before when I had access to that, and it was also fine. Yeah, I mean, like I have drop checker fluid right now. I probably wouldn't trust it because it's really old. I don't usually use drop checkers anymore. But yeah, it's fine.
And a way to know if it hasn't gone old is if you're replacing it in due time. The droppers are small anyways. So if you're using it
Mhm.
the way it's intended and replacing it as often as it shouldn't go bad by the time you run out of the bottle. So
And you can
Yeah.
see if it still works. You can put some of it in like a little white bowl, like or a custard cup, and you can put like a drop of vinegar or lemon juice in it, and it should turn yellow.
Yeah, and what
and it
Zen
takes a
said, I
lot of
forgot
lemon juice
long
to turn
enough.
yellow. It's not working right. Or
It
if it
turned
is, it's
clear.
changing
It
color.
turned clear. Like it starts to go really clearish yellow on you, no matter what time of day it is, and that's when I know that it's gone bad. And
Yeah.
I've let it go that long and beyond, many times.
Geek Voices drop checkers are too close to water testing.
So I don't want to go down that road.
Yeah, I mean they're great for beginners. At a certain point, you don't need them anymore because you've learned to watch your fish.
Yep.
And I kind of know about how many bubbles per second I need. I've had these tanks going for years now. And, there are all these people who are hung up. I like my pH to be reduced 1.4 degrees every day
Oof.
or 1.4 points every day. And I do this. It's like, that doesn't matter. What matters is that your fish are comfortable. And I
Yeah,
never want to inject more than my fish can handle. And
that
so
is
I
worth
will watch.
mentioning for Nathan. Before your CO2 turns on for the day, test your pH. And then after it's been running for 2 or 4 hours or so, test your pH again. If you're getting a 1-point drop in pH, then you're pretty good. Like that's how much CO2 that you want to stick with. If you're getting less than that, which I can't, if you're getting less than that, look at your
There's
flow,
something
because
leaking. There's either your flow,
yeah,
like it's stopped dispersing around, or there's something leaking in the system between the bubble counter and the actual diffuser. So maybe there's a leak in the airline. Well, probably not, because that'll just explode.
And
But
how you
one of the
test for
connections,
leaks? Yeah.
soapy
How you
water, and then
yeah.
pipette it onto
mhm,
every joint that you see.
Yeah,
If
or
you
you
see
get a little
bubbles, yeah.
spray bottle and spray it with
yeah.
soapy water and you'll see the leak.
Mhm.
So, yeah. But I mean drop checkers are good tools for beginners, I would say.
Yep.
I do
I still use them in a lot of tanks.
Yeah. I don't think I'm using any of them right now. But in a brand new tank I would use one because I don't have a feel for it yet.
Mhm.
So, Eric is here.
Oh,
Hello,
Eric, hey.
Eric.
Hey, Eric Jizz Balloon, man. Why?
That should be his new YouTube handle.
How awful would a jizz balloon be?
Mm-mm.
Oh God! Yeah.
You know how they say the Sandman comes during the night? You don't want.
Woo! Eric says that's my name.
Yeah, the charts online for pH and KH that tell you
Yeah.
the ppm. I think, was it like 30 ppm is what you're looking for based on that chart?
Depending on your hardness. And Nathan, I believe, I don't know your KH, but I'm assuming because you live in Florida, your water is rock hard. And so you're going to need to inject a lot more CO2 than I do, or especially than like Sarah, who's using RO water, does, because your water is so hard. But yeah, the pH chart is useful.
Freaky Fish Lady says, my fish and plants are all going to swim away from home to y'all's house after hearing all this love and care.
Aw, we do love our fish.
Yeah.
We take good care of our fish. So
And I mean, plants can put up with a lot, especially when you're looking at plants that don't require the additional CO2 injection. In fact, I think my 90 gallon, I don't think there is a single plant in there that requires CO2 injection or like it does significantly better without it. They just all look good with
I
CO2
only,
injection.
I only have a few. I have hair grass that needs CO2. Doesn't really
Yeah.
do well without it. Blixa japonica for sure.
Mhm.
Alternanthera, it just melts without CO2.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, like I have a foreground in here of Marsilea. It'll grow without CO2, but it'll
It'll be
never
really slow.
It'll just be slow,
it'll
super slow.
never get to be a dense lawn like this is without CO2. But everything else I have doesn't need CO2, but it sure does like it.
Yeah.
Passing
The
winds.
secret.
Wait a minute. The secret of growing hair is adding CO2. I mean, look at how lush Steven and Myrtle's hair is. I mean, there you
It's
go.
definitely a
Well, I
lot
am
of
body,
CO2
so
in
I
this
mean, I
house.
need to start. I need to take supplement, CO2 supplements. Just drink straight up seltzer water like Kelly does, or
That's
something.
right. I mean, it works. Steven has the great hair family. I mean, you've seen how
Mhm.
great Jenna's hair is. Like she's that great curly hair. Steven has tons of hair. His kids have amazing hair. They're the great hair family.
It's a lot of hair.
Yeah. So I guess according to passing wind, another way to check if your CO2 is leaking or not is if your family members have great hair, maybe.
Do they have great hair? I mean, Jake has great hair. So, I mean, I have just my hair's fine. It's fine. But Jake has great
What
hair.
would be your recommended budget for CO2? Let's assume you're
150 to
setting up one
200
tank.
for the regulator, 80 to 100 for a used CO2 tank that you can just swap, unless you want to buy a fancy one and so you can get it refilled. 10 to 15 bucks for like airline, CO2 line.
Yeah.
At most, like it's cheap, but like it's still on the
Yeah.
pricier side compared to other airlines. Um,
Yeah.
I would
I
spend
mean,
at least 15 bucks on a diffuser, just so that you have a good or whatever method you're using. So yeah.
I would not cheap out on your regulator. Get like a
Mhm.
CO2 art at least or SR Aquaristic. I have GLA, that's more expensive. Just because I don't want you to regret it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
So
especially I know you care about your fish
mhm.
and you live in a place that already has soft water, so you're growing plants pretty well.
you can
But it's
cheap out on
worth
pretty much
it.
everything else but the
Everything else.
regulator, really.
Don't
Yeah.
cheap out on a canister. Don't cheap out on a regulator. But everything else you can. I mean, don't get like. I mean, you do need to get CO2 proof tubing. Airline
We
tubing,
should
but it's
you
still cheap. It's
yeah.
still cheap.
Mhm.
So, that's not
That's a
expensive.
do as
But
I say, not as I do thing, because I recommend CO2 tubing for everyone. I don't have CO2 tubing. I just use regular airline and then swap it out every couple of months when it gets hard and brittle. Because I have so much of
Myrtle,
the
I'm
regular
gonna send
airline.
you some.
Yeah, send Myrtle some CO2
I'm
tubing.
gonna send him some because I have so much of it, and it's teal, Myrtle. I have teal
Oh, I
colored
like teal.
CO2.
That's a good color. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you some. I gave some to Rico too. I bought like they had a package of it that was like I don't know 100 feet or something. So
You're realistically not going to run through that much at any time.
no,
Because I was
I'm
going to say,
not.
unless you're running CO2 in all your tanks, don't buy the biggest pack of CO2 tubing because it doesn't go bad as fast as regular airline does. Just buy the smallest one they have, especially from CO2 art. Just buy the smallest roll. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but because it does leak.
Yes,
It does leak.
regular silicone airline tubing will leak
Mhm.
CO2. It's not designed for that, and
Yep.
it gets brittle over time. And you'll see
Yeah.
some CO2, like depending on where it is, some of them will yellow and then they'll just snap.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, just
yeah.
yeah. Get CO2 proof tubing. It's worth it. It's not expensive. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it. I got mine from GLA because I bought my regulator there. But it's cheap everywhere.
Yeah.
Make sure it says CO2 proof tubing. If you work in a lab and you can steal tubing, you can get tie-dye tubing, but that's super
Commit
expensive.
crimes.
That's like a couple dollars per foot, right? Per inch or
Oh
something.
yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's crazy expensive.
Yeah.
But if you work in a lab, you just steal tubing all the
Yeah.
time.
They won't
So,
notice.
yeah,
They won't notice when that much of
Mhm.
it goes away compared to like the big
they'll
rolls that I
tell
have.
you to take some home. I mean, there have to be some benefits to being a grad student. There aren't many. So, yeah.
Also, one thing you got to make sure when you're dealing with CO2 tubing is know your strength when you're working with it, especially if you have like a glass diffuser or something, because the tubing is hard itself. But if you wiggle a little bit too much, it'll snap whatever you're putting the tubing on. So know your strength when
Yeah,
you.
I broke a glass diffuser.
That's why I don't
The
use
answer
glass.
to that is don't buy glass diffusers. But if you
Yeah,
want the fancy looks,
I like the steel ones, but if you do want to use a glass one for whatever maybe your religion demands you use one, I don't know. You can soften it up in some hot water
Yeah.
and then put it
don't
on.
go too hard. Don't go too. Don't put it in for too long though. Otherwise, it doesn't go back to the original size. So.
I feel like there's a joke there, but I can't think of it. Right now.
That's why I went silent because I was like, there's something I said that.
I like that. CoreWorks says steal from work. Dr. Kelly Foreman, 2024. Yes, steal from your job.
So Geek
like
says, you
petty
know
theft
someone on
only.
oxygen. Yeah, because someone, let's see. Yeah, Nathan was asking, would oxygen tubing work?
No.
It wouldn't?
I don't
Like,
know.
it's not this.
No, because
I have no idea.
the thing that makes CO2 proof is because it can withstand the acids. So when CO2 dissolves in water, it forms carbonic
Mhm.
acid, and
Yeah.
that's what degrades your tubing. So it's
Oxygen
not
is inert, so the tubing doesn't have to be that. You have to have
yeah.
that
And medical
capability.
tubing is really expensive, by the way. You know, the oxygen tubing, it's expensive. So just buy some off Amazon that says it's CO2 proof. It's really cheap.
Yeah. Or if
It's
you're buying your regulator and stuff from a place like CO2 Art or GLA, they already have CO2 tubing on the site, so you can contribute that to free shipping or what have you, or just paying shipping once and buy everything from one spot. So
yeah, if you
I
get it from
swear when I
GLA,
bought a CO2 art regulator, it came with tubing, and now they don't anymore.
you either bought it a long time ago or you bought the CO2 package that they have. They have a package that comes with tubing and all that stuff. That's not just a
It just
regulator.
came with tubing, and
Okay,
it was 4 years ago, more than 4 years ago that I bought it.
the nice thing about GLA is their CO2 proof tubing, which is not expensive. It's the same price as everywhere, but they have it in tons of colors. So you can pick your color. And that's why I have
And it's
two.
easy that if you have like one CO2 tank but running multiple fish tanks, you can have different multicolored lines so you know which one is going to which one. So,
Or you
Yeah,
can
that's a
keep
good
it
point.
separate from your airline tubing because they're different
Mhm.
colors. So, but yeah. Oh, Osama says that he's going to have
nice.
it on his site soon. So there you go. You could get it from him, and it'll
Nice.
probably. It's not an expensive purchase,
Mhm.
and you know, it's just one less thing
Yeah,
to worry
and I
about.
haven't had to change mine out at all
neither.
since getting it.
That's why I have too much of it. So that's why I'm going to send some to Myrtle. I have a ton. I have a ton. I gave some to
Yeah,
Rico.
the simple solution, either send it to someone or get more tanks. I think you should get more tanks too.
Well, the thing is if
Mhm.
even if I got more tanks, I only need like that much more tubing. I have so much of
You
it.
need tanks all around the house then.
No, I don't.
I'm
You
good
know,
at it. Yeah.
I always told
It gets
myself
worse.
I would never have a tank that was far from water.
Hmm.
Because my first time, you know, I as an adult, I had tanks. They were really far, and I had to get a really long python, and it was so annoying. And right now, I have a bathroom right over there. It's so
Mhm.
easy to do water changes. So I
Mm.
never want to I never want it to be hard to do water changes.
Yeah, that was the worst part of my garage fish room. So either I had to go outside to the end of the line of apartments to run a hose from the spigot that's like most buildings have spigots on the outside. So either run a hose from there to fill up the
Ooh.
buckets, or I'd have to rely on the kitchen and have a
Oh
bucket
yeah.
there, and then the kitchen that was upstairs. So we'd have a pipe
Oh.
running water down the stairs into the bucket, and then once it filled, you had to yell out up the stairs, turn it off before it fills too much. So
Mom,
yeah.
turn it off.
Yep. So we had to do one of those two things, which is why I don't think I'll be putting the fish room up in the garage again unless I have a better solution for water.
I'm
Yeah.
thankful for our hall bathroom that is like in the dead center of the house. So
Yeah,
I
that is
have
really easy for
a
you.
25-foot python reaches all the tanks.
Yeah, it's really easy for you. And it's very easy for me too. The bathroom is this is the dining room. The bathroom is right off the dining room. So it's really easy. But I never want a situation where like, you know, I could put a tank like all the way on the other side of the living room, but then I'd have to drag a python over there, and I know my motivation to do water changes will be low.
Yeah.
If I
So
don't have.
Sama says he still has to carry buckets or gallon containers. Yeah. To drain water, if I'm lazy and I don't want to
Oof.
unravel all the power head and the tubing that I have, yeah, I carry buckets out and into the sink to drain the water. Sometimes when I'm not feeling lazy, I will unravel the power head that I have that has hose attached to it and use
Yeah.
that to drain the water. But I usually just drain it into a bucket, carry it to the sink because it's only 12 feet away. So
Nope. I am
No,
all Python all the
yeah.
time. I don't care.
Nope.
I'll shove the Python in that 2-gallon bowl
Yep.
if I need to change the water in there.
If I have to carry buckets, water changes are just not going to happen. I know how I am. Yeah, and for me, lifting a 5-gallon bucket of water is not trivial, right? So
Mhm.
that's 40 pounds. That's kind of a lot for me.
Mhm.
Like, I can lift it, but it's kind of pushing it as a
Yeah.
woman. And I guess I could make Jake do all my water changes, but I already make Jake do so many things. Like,
And you also have a wood floor, so you don't want to get too
I
much
do have a
water
wood
on the
floor.
floor.
Yeah,
So if the sloshing
Yeah.
in the bucket will just cause spills and everything. So yeah, easier to just use
exactly.
the tubing.
Yeah. So Python's so worth it. Oh, Scotty.
Scotty says, rumor has it a big giveaway will be taking place on the 7 p.m. Eastern
Ooh,
live stream. Scotty, the fish freak.
Well,
nice.
well then, Scotty. That's very
Oh,
exciting.
and just to clarify one thing that Kelly said, because I know someone's probably going to ask if they're a beginner watching. By Python, they mean she means the sink attachment pythons, not just the siphon python, because you can buy just a siphon from the Python brand itself. So
Yeah.
there are
Yeah,
We
and I
sink
don't
use
mean
that
the
attachments, water
reptile
change
for
kits.
either.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
A
mean, you
snake
don't want to use
will
a
not
snake to
help
change your water.
you.
Yeah,
No.
I mean,
there's no way you're gonna get water to go through a snake. Well, snakes
and they
can, but
won't help
it won't
you.
go fast.
Snakes will not do household chores for you. They won't do it.
Yeah.
Imagine
Coral
starting a
Works
siphon with a
points.
snake. How are you gonna do that?
I don't know. Coral Works points out that 40 pounds is the OSHA limit for most people. Man, if a job ever wants me to lift 40 pounds, like that's not a job for me. I want to like lift this like spin drift every day, and that's it. I'm dainty. Whip says I'm twice your size, and I don't want to do water changes with buckets. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. If you have nothing but nano tanks, well, all right. But if you have a 90-gallon,
If you want to do an 80% water change, there's multiple 5-gallon buckets that you got to pull out. So
Yeah, a 90-gallon with fish that really love water changes and
yeah.
plants that
just
really
a
love
50%
water
water
changes.
change is 9 buckets just for
Oh
that.
god.
So
Yeah, I mean,
That's
and I
I'm
do
not.
more than 50%. So yeah.
just the time factor in filling those buckets too,
Yeah,
which would
it's
drive
just
me
not going
nuts.
to happen. Coro says anything over 40 pounds above shoulder height means you definitely need two people. I can't lift 40 pounds. No.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna try
No.
lifting a 40-pound, 5-gallon bucket above my head because I know that's gonna fall somewhere and it's gonna crash into the fish tank or crash into the
Yeah.
floor, ruin a table. I don't know what it's gonna do.
Yeah. I mean, thank goodness for pythons because this hobby would not be accessible for me without.
Yeah.
Or I mean, you can also use pumps. Pumps work great. And
Oh,
I have a CJ pump and I have yet to use it. I bought it like a year ago, but I
and
don't
with
have the
these,
right
you don't have to
thing
buy
for
like
it.
an aquarium specific one. You can go into like a garden center. That's where I
Yeah.
got my power head from. Just to get a pond power pump or something, a power head,
Yeah.
and just find something that your tubing will attach to, and then you're fine.
Yeah.
So
I
I
mean,
got
I
mine
bought
for
this
what,
like
$30 at most, I think. Yeah.
Geek Boy raises a good point. If you live in an area where like
Mhm.
it's a dry area and water conservation is important, those Venturi sink attachments waste a crap ton of water.
right, they do. And Geek Boy does live in a dry place.
Mhm.
Um,
It's one of the
yeah,
main reasons I use the power head and bucket method because
yeah.
I don't want to waste money on because we pay for water because we're in an apartment. So and
Mm.
the water's expensive here, so we don't want to run the sink the whole time we're draining the tank. So
I do run the sink sometimes. I live in a place where it rains a lot.
yeah,
Water is cheap here. It's wasteful. Yeah. But yeah, if you live in a place where water is scarce, like Geek Boy does, Maybe get pumps. Pumps are good for that.
And if you're trying to siphon anything like substantial, like plant matter and solids and stuff, then yeah, they clog instantly.
Whip
So
says he
Osama asks, oh, please go ahead, Kelly.
Whip said he did a 70% water change on his 210 using buckets once.
So the only way I see that working is like the Fantasia thing where the buckets, like they have a whole bunch of buckets and then the broomsticks are just moving the buckets one by one by one by one. So it's like a chain of
Oh
buckets.
my god.
Yeah, I mean,
One bucket is did you spend the whole day doing water changes on that one tank?
I mean, Whip is a very big, strong man, so
But still, the
he's
time
better
it'll
at it
take
than
to
I
fill
am,
the
but
bucket, go
still.
away, go somewhere, drain it. Like one bucket's gonna be at least a couple minutes, and then you have multiple buckets for 210 gallons. So
Oof. If I had to use buckets, I would not have more than one tank, and it would be a small tank.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. You know, but when I was a kid, that's what we did. We used buckets. We had a 10-gallon and a 20-gallon, and Dad would. He didn't do huge water changes. He would do like 20%, and he would throw the water out on the plants outside. So yeah, I don't remember pythons back then. Kara C says that she enlists the first kid she sees to man the water hose.
Yep.
You know what? Those kids should be good for something.
Well, of course. Otherwise, why do you have kids if you can't enlist them to do tasks for you?
I mean, that's the whole reason Jake's parents had a kid was for farm labor.
Yep.
Just the whole reason. Then he says, of course, his go-to is Fantasia. Of course, the Sorcerer's Apprentice.
I forgot the name for Bucket Brigade or whatever it's called. So like what people use.
Sorcerer's
So I was like,
Apprentice.
what's the thing that they use it? Yeah, Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Paul Dukas. Paul Dukas. I don't remember. Isn't there a 50-foot python?
There's definitely a 50, and I'm wondering if there might be 100.
Too. I think there is, but they also have extensions. Like you can go to the Python website; they have boxes, like box-sized tubing. So that's a couple, at least 50, 100 feet. Yeah.
So that way you can you can hook it up to your neighbor's outdoor spigot, and you can steal water from them.
Steal water from them, yeah. And go with Python. Don't go with any other brands. I found that Python tubing is the best tubing. Like it doesn't go hard and brittle over the years. I think that's just why Python's been around for so long, because they've had the best tubing since the beginning. Like Aquarium tubing
a little more.
just turns brittle like almost instantly. Generic Petco or PetSmart tubing, that also it starts off hard and stays hard the whole time, so it never softens. Python stuff though, it stays flexible. And you can kink the hose too if you want to stop the flow or anything. But if you tried doing that with Aquarium, what did that do?
I don't know.
You just did a thumbs up.
Anyways, if you kink that's what I did. If you kink the hose, with like a PetSmart, it's gonna break. So
Brian says he's been using a Python since the 80s. We didn't know about those.
I believe that. I think they've been around for that long. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't know about them in the 80s.
If you go to a Python website, doesn't it say they've been around for like this many years or something?
Yeah, but like unless your pet store carried them in the 80s, like we wouldn't know. Like we didn't belong to a fish club. I didn't think there was a fish club in Waterloo, Iowa. So it was just
I only knew that the Venturi system, like the faucet attachment, existed because I used to have a water bed.
Oh,
and that's how you would drain the hose.
You had a waterbed. When did you get rid of it? How old were you?
It's like probably after I graduated from high school.
Yeah, no one.
My parents probably when my parents moved, probably like, what are they going to do with the waterbed? Moving, and I don't live there anymore.
You know, everybody when I was in high school and younger had waterbeds, and now nobody does. Like, who has a waterbed? We should make that a poll. Like, do you have a waterbed?
This Friday. That's poll from Extreme.
Remind me.
Because I want to know, like, I don't waterbeds. So Dee Dee says good sleeping. I mean, I have slept in waterbeds, but Dee Dee,
I fell off of the waterbed the first time I tried it at the store. I rolled off.
Dee Dee, they're not good for other activities, though. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about. They're terrible for that.
Yep. It's really hard to
Myrtle,
put tubing on your diffuser when you're in a waterbed, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Water beds get cold too. Like they get
They have a
really
heater,
cold.
but if the
Good
heater
Lord,
fails, then yeah, it's like miserably cold water you're sleeping on.
I don't
Myrtle,
want
make a peace sign. I want to test something. Do that.
I'm trying. My hands. Ew, that's weird.
Ah, I knew it. There it goes.
Balloons.
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 Yeah.
Ah,
That's
Dee
new.
Dee, you always have the good life advice. Like
Mhm.
Is that a
I learned
StreamYard
from
thing
it.
or is that
It is a Mac thing.
No, but like
No, I know the thumbs up
Yeah.
thing was that, but then but the way you knew about the peace sign, I was like, wait, that's probably okay. It's probably a Mac.
Now the balloons. So that we discovered that during the Newlywed Game with Eric and Gina.
Oh.
Eric's wife Gina was saying, like, held up her finger, said 2 words, and then she said butt stuff, and balloons came up at the same time.
Oh, there's a
And
whole
it
list
was
of them. So there's balloons, there's
yeah.
fireworks. Oh, you can't see them because I'm using a green screen thing, but there's a thumbs down as well, which you also can't see. There are hearts. There's rain. Fun.
So both Whip and Freaky Fish Lady disagree with my criticism of waterbeds. So I defer to you both because
Okay.
to be fair, I have not tried that on a waterbed. I'm only imagining. I have slept on one, but I have, only slept. So I defer to the experts.
Coral says Kelly is in a dog drum with them.
Wait, what? Oh, Dr. Rhythm, it sounds like. Okay.
I have to work on my timing, Dee Dee says. All right. Well, it doesn't seem like it would only be a Kelly problem. I'm just saying. It's not just me.
What if you're prone to motion sickness?
True.
And I
Yep.
am. I am.
See, it's not just working on time for one person because it's a two-party activity. So you need both of the waves to go the same rate. So yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a sine wave or a cosine wave. Like you have to measure the amplitude and the.
Man, the Python system has it been around for that long? Was it still like? Is it that brand? The Python brand was around in '95.
Well, Brian says he was using them in the '80s. So
really, I
yeah.
wonder if that the same kind of tubing and everything. Why would anyone try to like duplicate it with an inferior tubing?
So Rainiers founded Milwaukee-based Python in 1983 after suffering ... I don't want to click.
Well, so Milwaukee, that makes sense that
Yeah.
Brian knows it because he's from Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
So it came to him first.
Cool.
I'm getting a lot of good advice in the comments. Thank you, everyone.
When I got my first tank, it was like early college, maybe late high school. I didn't even know that the little bulb siphons were a thing. I thought you just had to suck the water out.
Oh God!
So it's another
the bulb is the
deterrent for
worst
me
if
to
you
do a
don't
water
have like
change.
something at the front of the siphon to catch any fish or anything to go in. Because if something gets caught in the tube, it's staying in the bulb. It's never coming out. So that's why I rip the bulb off the Python whenever I buy it. So never use a bulb. The fish will get stuck.
So Whip wasn't doing water changes in the 80s. He didn't do them until the early 2000s.
Okay, that's also a fair point. Maybe another reason people don't know about Python as much is because back then you weren't taught to do many water changes, and if you did, you were taught to scrub the whole tank out, just drain everything.
Yeah, it was like during the full maintenance.
So my grandfather was quite the aquarist. I mean, he had hundreds of cichlid tanks because it's Iowa, of course. And then he switched to saltwater. But he was a big cichlid guy and he did water changes. He just did buckets on hundreds of tanks. And we did water changes too, but not like huge water changes. We would do like 20% at the most. And we wouldn't do water changes every week. We would probably do them like a couple times a month. So, but yeah, we did water changes. So, and my grandfather, he was a crazy water changer. After he retired, he did only salt water and he would do water changes with salt water. He had a whole room of salt water. It was really cool. So people did them. Some people. Yeah. Cora says, I thought all the bulb siphons worked with backflow preventers, but the last one I bought still needed to use my thumb, which defeats the point.
I got the bulb. I think Aquarium Co-op. I don't know if they still sell it, but I bought it from there and just attached it to one of the
They used
siphon
the Python
hoses.
one, right? Yeah, the Python bulb. Yeah.
Yeah, it
They
must
used
have
to
been a
sell it.
Python one. I mean, it fit, and yeah, I just use that to drain into buckets and stuff like that.
Wow, Zenny. Zenny says we had a dedicated igloo cooler to take all the fish out and put them in while we drain the tank and bleach the filter.
That was the thing. That was a thing back then. Is you did that full
Wow.
maintenance of just disinfecting the whole tank.
Yep, and that
You
makes you
know-
think, what are we doing now that'll be disproven like 80 years from now?
You know, we knew about the nitrogen cycle in the 80s. I guess not everybody did, but I
The
remember
hobby wasn't introduced to it though. The knowledge
Yeah.
wasn't brought down to the hobbyist
yeah,
level.
because
Science had the knowledge, but yeah.
we would because we had under gravel filters and we would clean the gravel every year and we would take out all the gravel, but my dad would tell me to leave one scoop of the gravel uncleaned so I would keep the bacteria in the tank.
When I had undergravel
Yeah.
filters, I either did one of two things: either do one half of 1 week and the other half the other, or I would do like a chessboard thing where I'd skip hills every week. So I'd skip around the tank, and then on the next week I'd do the other part of it, which was harder because that was just because I wanted to see if I could do it, just like make sure I'd be precise and like get a checkerboard design into the tank. But no, it's easier to do.
Well,
half
back
one
then,
and
I
half the
assume most of the information was just a game of telephone, unless you were reading
Yep.
books and attending
It was
seminars and
whatever
club
knowledge
events
your
and
local fish
stuff.
store had was what was disseminated
Yeah.
into the customers.
I mean, we had some aquarium books when I was a kid. So we had some. And, you know, my grandfather, he was quite an Aquarist. So he must have had some books too. But, I mean, my dad has a degree in biology. So I guess he understood bacteria a little more than most people. So, yeah, we would keep some of the water or some of the gravel uncleaned. Brooklyn was conceived in a waterbed. Well done.
She says, I don't know why my mom decided to share that info with me, but yeah, that was weird.
I don't know where it was conceived, and I don't want to know. I haven't asked, and I
don't know either. Yeah, and I don't think I'm
know
going to be asked
everything.
anytime.
I don't need to know everything.
So
Yeah.
Nathan missed how to leak test the CO2 system. Y'all
So
use
there's a
the
couple of
soapy
ways.
water.
Soapy water sprayed onto all the
Yeah.
joints on the CO2 thing. Wherever you can see one thing connect to another thing, put it there. See if it's leaking. Another way is if you have regular airline, if it's brittle, it's probably got holes in it at this point. So change it out.
Yeah.
Change it out anyways. I mean, it's something you are going to want to do. Just change it out. CO2 proof tubing is cheap. It's very cheap. I'm not telling you to do anything expensive. It's a few bucks.
Yep.
Yeah,
Check
and it's not going to be need
every
replacing as
seam,
often.
every
as
connection point, including like bubble counter.
And
Make sure that's tightened all the way, and in the little nipple attachment, if you've actually put it all the way through the nipple before you screwed it on, because if it hasn't, then stuff is leaking.
And your bubble counters. So let me show you my bubble counters.
While Kelly takes us down, Zen, yes, I think we've had this conversation before, but yeah, I have weird idiosyncrasies with the way I do things because of my OCD.
Can you see in there? You see my bubble counters?
We're looking at we can see it. Yep, we can see both bubble counters.
So you can see that white at the top of them. That's Teflon tape. That's because my bubble counters always leak there.
And do you have the GLA bubble counters?
Yes. And I hate it.
I've heard they leak. Yeah.
It's so annoying. So, but I know
they put the generic bubble counters don't ever leak from the screw point.
Why don't they put an O-ring there? I don't know. I mean, I could probably buy an O-ring, but I would have to know the diameter of it, which means I would have to measure the diameter of it, and then I just haven't done that.
Getting into DIY territory there.
God. So, but every time I do this, I have to put more Teflon tape on every single time. So I always suggest to everyone to keep Teflon tape on hand because you could have a leak anywhere. And
if you're building a fish room, you probably have Teflon tape anyways from when you did your water lines.
Well, you probably have it if you do any plumbing either. I mean, it's cheap stuff.
Other had plumbing stuff too. Yeah.
It's a couple bucks at a hardware store. Like I'm not. Again, this is a cheap thing you can you can pick up at Home Depot or something.
And I feel like one of my regulators came with Teflon tape, and I don't
Huh.
remember.
Definitely
Yeah.
not a CO2 R1 or probably the SR Upper
No.
stick. Yeah.
Here's
I
some
do know
Teflon
that
tape
Jilla-
right here. So
I like how you just have that ready on your dining table.
I just have it because we just changed the CO2 out, and so I have to use it every time. But I should
Mhm.
get an O-ring, but like I would have to know the diameter of O-ring to buy, and then I'd have to figure it out. And oh god, just I don't want to do it.
You can probably ask Jake if he has like a set of calipers somewhere in like his toolbox or something. Just use that to measure the diameter.
Yeah, I don't know if Jake has calipers or not. Maybe he
Usually,
might.
when I need an O-ring, I just order like a box of
All of them,
multi-size
and then see
rings,
which one fits.
and then one of them is gonna fit.
I mean, I
And then
should
you
just.
have more for the next time you need to use an O-ring for whatever else you need them for, right?
Mhm.
We're talking about a lot of baby making on waterbeds in this stream. You know what? This is an educational stream. We didn't tell you what you'd be educated on. It's an
Something.
educational party boat. That's right. 186 element. I'm with you. I also hate Teflon tape, but it does work. It does work, and it is cheap. So,
Yeah.
but it is annoying, and you have to replace it every time.
Yeah.
So it's not one thing you can like get a few uses out of it. No, you have to replace it every time. Myrtle,
just
he
loses it.
loses rings. I mean, that
Yep.
does sound like
to be
something.
fair, Steven has also lost toolkits and then had to buy more toolkits. So
Yeah.
I see myself doing that though. If I buy something, I'm definitely not gonna remember that when the next time I need to use it.
You know, we are flawed human beings on Wet Your Plants, right?
Mhm.
We're not
Indeed.
we're not the most organized. We're doing our best.
The
But our
biggest
best
not
culprit
doing
I
like
have
we're-
been of this is with reeds and cork grease when I used to play either the oboe or saxophone, whatever woodwind instrument I would play. I would buy boxes of reeds at one time, right? Except for oboes, you buy them at one at a time because they're cheaper that way. Or you have your teacher make them for you. Actually, I didn't have a teacher. But for saxophone reeds, they come in boxes of either 5 or 10. And I'd put a couple in my case and leave the others at home so I don't lose them or someone doesn't steal them. The only thing is I never know where I put them at home. So I'd have to buy another box the next time. So yeah.
I managed to keep one block of rosin for 8 years without breaking it or losing it.
Without it
don't know
going,
how.
doesn't
I've
rosin go
also
bad
used
after
it-
a certain amount of time? Because like it
I've
gets
also
hard
used
and
up chapsticks before. That's pretty good without losing the chapstick. So Scotty says my bubble counter thing is dry and I am too scared to fill it because I'm worried my crappy regulator will break. So you're
Scotty,
gonna
here's
have
what you do. You hold the glass and then you take the top of it off and then you just twist the cap until it opens.
Yeah.
Hold the glass so it doesn't twist from the bottom because it'll come off from the bottom.
Yeah,
as
you
well.
don't have to take your
So you
tubing
hold
off.
the glass, take it off, don't open the nipples or anything, just leave that open, closed, and then fill the water up like around 3/4 up to however much you want and then close it. Or buy a bottle of mineral oil once, fill it in, and then never have to fill it again.
so
Geek, how are those refillable ones doing?
Oh, yeah.
Because he posted a link on Discord
Yeah,
where
those
you don't have
Yeah,
to take
he has
anything off.
refillable Bible counters, not bubble counters, Bible counters.
Those won't fit the GLA ones. I did look at that and I was interested. So Scotty, also I only refill mine when I change out my CO2 because I'm assuming because I
It
have a
stayed
good
constant.
regulator.
Yeah.
Yeah, I set it
Yep.
and forget it, and I don't need to
But
look
Scotty
at
has
it.
an Epson, so I think he'd want to keep that filled at all times just so you have a good look on what's happening.
Yeah,
I-
so
But Zen
Yeah.
posted a link to these. I just wanted to say if you don't have one of
Yeah,
these
those
for
are-
your CO2
Yes,
canister,
yeah.
get it. They're cheap
And they work for
they
most
make
standard cylinders. The G, whatever the cylinder grade is that we use for the CO2 tanks.
Yep.
They fit on most of
Yeah.
them. Some of them actually,
I mean-
if they don't have it already, some of them already have them or they come with them. I don't
Yeah.
know, but
yeah, you can use a nylon washer, but I think the
Those are
perma
better.
the
are
metal,
better.
yeah.
And they're very cheap. I also use that. I also have a brass check valve that I use. That's another nice thing to order for your CO2 because a regular check valve is
Not
not
rated
safe.
for, yeah.
It's
You
not
need
safe.
a CO2, high pressure one, yeah.
So Shady Gray's asking if the TDS inline meter I have is working. which that is, I have that for my RO system where it's constantly measuring the TDS of the RO water going into the trash can and the water coming out of the tap, and it's working really well so far.
Awesome.
I made sure and rotated it so that the water is going through the goal posts as Usama had recommended, and all good. I like it. Makes
How
it
many
handy
tanks
for
are
me to
you?
figure out.
How many tanks are you doing RO on?
Well, the one that I'm doing pure RO that's remineralized is the bowl. The other tanks that I'm doing RO on are just anytime I want to do a breeding like to trigger spawning for a Corridorus tank.
Yeah.
So I'll
It's like rain.
hook that up. I'll hook the Python up to the hose outside and just run the RO water. And it's like it's quite a cold water change this time of year. Like I don't do it when it's 40 outside, but if it's like in the 60s, I'll do a water change with it.
That water's gonna get so hot in the summer.
I know.
Yeah.
I have to figure out. I'll have to
You're gonna
probably
have to
start
do
storing more in buckets and
Yeah.
in gallon containers
You
inside.
also want to see what type of thing you're storing the water in because you don't want the heat to get the plastics to break down really fast.
It's a brute trash can. They're
Oh, that
pretty.
should be fine. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
good.
Yeah. The
You have the
brute, the Rubbermaids,
opposite.
all of those are really good. Yeah.
You have the opposite problem that I do. Like it would get too cold here. So
Yeah.
It would just
not
freeze.
that, yeah, just the yeah, you couldn't have an RO system outside. That's
Well, yeah, I mean, a few days a year, if it's going to get below, like get in the low 30s, it's easy to unhook and I bring it inside, right inside the door.
that's every night for us. So
Yeah.
Coro asks, how do we feel about stainless diffusers? And we love them. We
I
all
like them.
do. Yeah,
That's what I
I've
have here.
never.
The CLS,
Yeah.
the whatever it's called. Yeah.
There's one on that tank right there. I prefer inline diffusers because they are maintenance free. So that's my first choice. But for smaller tanks, that is what I use. I use the one. It begins with a C. The companies that like
CLSE, the Chloe
Yeah,
or
I
something
always,
like that. Yeah.
I always think it's Cloaca brand, but it's not.
Cloaca.
I think the spelling, I think it's CLSEA or something like that. It's on Amazon. There's a whole bunch of different widths, so you can have them for rimless rimmed tanks with really big rims. There's some that don't have the rim attachment on it, so they're just little inside the tank. I prefer the ones that have the rim attachment though, because if your tank is tall, like short enough, it's better that way. You don't have to have tubing in the tank. So
Yeah, I like that the disc is replaceable on them. So sometimes, like if it's just too far gone, like it's too scuzzy, I just replace it and throw it out. And you can switch back and forth just between discs, which is nice.
Yeah, that's what I do. I have two discs that I switch back and forth between.
But I think they're a good value, and I think they're still really attractive, and they don't break because glass ones, they break. It's just what they do.
Yeah.
But they're still really attractive and they look nice. So I recommend them.
I've got 3 of these apparently.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Is that the
let's
one with
see.
the replaceable disc? Because I know one of the stainless steel ones that they carry does not have replaceable discs.
Okay, so this is what annoys the crap out of me is I thought that buying this one
would give you a replacement disc, right?
This one, no, this is not the right one. This one goes to this one.
Yeah.
So what I did discover though is that the replaceable disc that you use for the Tropica diffuser, which I have one of those too, they work in these. So I ordered more of those from Atlantic Aquariums and used those.
Oh, nice.
Because they're the same size, they fit. And I also have one of these large ones. This one for the plant farm. It's bigger diameter. And this is not glass though. It's acrylic or whatever.
Yeah,
plastic.
I have the stainless steel one. However, I am going to, when I tear down this tank, which someday it'll happen, I'm going to put in an inline diffuser because I love inline diffusers and I want to use them for everything because they are maintenance free and they give nice tiny bubbles that spray across your tank. So that's my first choice. But if you have smaller tanks, like if you have 10-gallon tanks or 20-gallon tanks, the in-tank ones are nice to use. And I like the stainless steel. So
I mean, you can also get a little mini. If you have a nano tank, you can get a little mini reactor to hook up to those little mini canister filters, like in
Yeah.
lily pipes. You can go all out.
Mhm.
Yeah,
One day I
maybe I'll
might do
do
all that.
that. I don't know, but I just really don't. I just don't want to have one more thing to maintain, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
So yeah. So Dee Dee says she fills her indoor barrel and then she starts on the outdoor barrel. She uses up the indoor. She pumps in the outdoor barrel and she puts a heater in the barrel for a day. So depending on how cold the water was outside.
It's a
So I
good
guess that's
idea.
good for when it's hot out too, because it gets hot where you live.
She has a good setup for her RO system, and then she has like a wastewater barrel too, and then she has like a very long hose that she wants to get rid of the wastewater. It doesn't just pool up in the middle of her backyard.
Dee Dee is a very clever woman. If she's doing something, it's usually clever. I mean,
Yep,
'cause
Yep.
all the parts of
she's
her
great
fridge
at
setup, they all
DIY.
work together. So it's really organized and everything.
Hmm.
Dee's great at DIY, and I'm a
Mhm.
disaster. I have no skills, but Dee Dee's great at it.
Didi's the
We
type of
need to
person
have
I would
Dee Dee
trust
on
to have a
again.
suspended tank in the fish room. Like she'd find a way to suspend a tank from the ceiling. She'd do it.
She would do it. We need to
Oh
have
god.
Dee Dee on Wet Your Plants again, just so we can
Yes, we
learn all
do. Yeah.
these
Yep.
clever Dee Dee things. Because I'm not good at any of that. Dee Dee's good at all of it. So yeah. So that's good, Steven. You could do it that way.
So the
Yep.
186 element says waterbeds, babies, and goalposts. What stream am I watching? That's usually how we end up. We end up talking about anything but plants
It's true.
usually.
And those are things Dee Dee knows a lot about.
Yeah.
Tanks,
And if you
things that
join us on Friday nights, it's much less educational and a lot
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
Yeah, Friday nights, 9:30 Eastern. Come over to this channel once and see how chaotic we get. Or
this
Steve,
is
yeah.
this is an educational party boat.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I mean, you'll learn something, but we're gonna have a good time. Shady Grady says wastewater from the RO system is still good to use in your fish tanks. It's even filtered.
Yeah,
It
it goes
Depends on
through
the
the
tank.
goes
yeah,
through
it
the
depends
carbon and
on
the sediment,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, it depends on the tank. Like if you can tolerate that hardness for whatever
Mhm.
you're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like wastewater is fine for like cinglet tanks where you need the hard water and all, but if you're using wastewater in planted tanks, why did you go through the RO anyways? Because you're just putting it back in. So
Yeah. And
depends on what
it's
you're dumping it in.
and
Good
Zenny,
for
it's
plants, though,
great for
yes.
your plants. Yeah. It's great for your outdoor plants.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's good for them.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Or
Like
indoor.
mine would just all my wastewater is just more KH, and there's
Yeah.
nothing. There's really nothing else. A little bit more phosphate in the wastewater, and a bunch of carbonate.
Almost every plant will be just fine, and some of them will be even better with it. Like if you're growing tomatoes or peppers,
Mhm.
they'll love it because tomatoes need lots of calcium, or they get blossom end rot. So it's good
My
for
water has
them.
no calcium though. That's the thing. Like the
I
wastewater has
know.
zero calcium.
It's
It's I
still
don't
fine.
know how nutritious that water really is. It's just like alkaline
It's
water.
still fine. I mean, especially like when you were in your drought season. Hopefully, you won't have a drought this year.
Yeah, yeah, really.
Could have put it in your yard, but yeah, it's just fine. I mean, if you have something that needs like soft acidic water, like a plant, like azaleas, but that's more dependent on your soil pH, anyways. I would just put it on your plants, put it on your trees. It's fine.
I might steal this idea. Coro says set it up with a soaker hose under a bunch of mulch so the water doesn't just flow downhill. It
Yeah,
soaks in and releases moisture slowly. Yeah,
yeah,
I know exactly where I could put that too.
yeah. I mean, if
I'm
you
gonna do that.
have a spot in your yard that is kind of dry, it's really good to put it there. But you don't want it pooling around your house.
Mhm.
Nah.
Because like that's kind of more of a problem for you usually, Stephen, because you live in a swamp.
Yeah, I mean, all our houses, they're on a foundation. I mean, you wouldn't want the water just like directly draining
Yeah.
against the foundation all day long.
And he says, if you care what color your hydrangeas are, it's true. If you have pH dependent like hydrangea macrophylla, but the pH of your water isn't really going to make much of a difference so much as the
pH
soil.
of the soil. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want really blue hydrangeas, and why wouldn't you? They look way better than the pink ones. You want to add sulfur to your soil. So how you can buy it at the garden center. See, we learn about all kinds of plants on What Your Plants,
Mhm.
not just aquarium plants.
Yeah, we don't just deal with wet plants. We also do
That's
dry
right.
plants. I mean, Kelly has a lot of house plants that she
I
cares for.
Yep.
do. And I was gonna show you guys. It's been, I think, almost exactly 1 year. There's my hydroponic wall. It's doing really great. I forget about
The
it.
forced DIY project.
God damn it.
It's a one DIY project that Kelly had to DIY.
God damn it, it was terrible. But since I've set it up, I do nothing. It is 100% maintenance free. I have trimmed plants once, maybe twice. It's so easy. I love that thing. And I did see that there's a place in the United States, I can't remember who stocks that thing. Well, I just can't recommend it because, like, I had to replace the light. I had to replace the pump. I had to replace the tubing. Like, nothing worked on it.
So the only thing you got from it was like the actual container itself.
Container.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know. Coralworks, I love that idea. Willet Bog Hydrangea Edition. I mean, maybe I should try it this year. I do love Hydrangea macrophylla, the blue ones. You know, and they just don't grow that well around here because our soil here is very basic. It's not acidic. So they're going to turn pink here, which I don't find very interesting. But when
Speaking
you
of
can get them in
hydroponic
soil, it's
walls,
really cool.
Coro sent me a link to this a while back. This Vivo
Yeah, those
Sun.
are cool. Where would you put that though? Do you have a big space you could put it?
Behind the mosh pit, it would be like against the window. There's 3 narrow windows in that room.
Oh, that
I
could
don't know
work.
if that would be enough light or if I'd have to add some supplemental light to it.
Do you have that window? Do you have shades down? You'd have to open the shades.
Yeah, I'd have to open the shades.
Probably it'd
It's
be
also
okay.
it's a southern facing window, so it's not direct sun.
Yeah, I think it's southern facing is perfect. That's exactly what you want. I think you should go for it. What do you want to grow? You want to
I
grow
don't
veg
know.
or like salad, or what do you want to grow? Houseplants?
Nitrate sponges. And you know, it looks good too. It would be good.
Yeah. No, I think, and that's not too expensive. See, I don't have, well, I don't know. So I got to looking at, because they sell these again in the United States. And like, it's been a year, so I've forgotten the pain of how bad this thing was to set up. And I'm like, oh, I could put 2 of them side by side. It will look really awesome. But it's like, I don't really want to support that company for selling such a bad product.
Right.
But I do, it does look awesome. So,
And I haven't seen anything else that's like the one that you bought that might have better equipment. Like that's,
I know.
you would think that someone else had like got in on that and fixed the problems with that one.
My other idea is they have a lot of hydroponic towers. If I could find one that would fit well between these 2 tanks in this corner here, I think it would be really cool to plumb one into the 90.
It would be cool, but remember you have cats, and cats like cat towers, and the hydroponic towers will look like a cat
No.
tower, and then they're already
Mhm.
plants, and your cats love eating plants, so that's probably not a good idea because it starts with the
It's that
ground, and the
kitty.
cats are going to
Yeah.
find their way up.
Don't
Yeah.
say cat, say fat kitty, because he is the
Cat
problem.
The plant
He is
murderer.
the
Yeah.
problem cat. He likes to murder plants. I don't know. I mean, Jake really likes the idea of it, though. So I don't know. All right. It isn't all about plants. What was my favorite thing to eat in Louisiana? So the food in Louisiana is amazing. It's so good. And I love eating there. It's so fun. I had some really great shrimp and grits. Definitely the last restaurant we went to. is
Bistro Byron's. Yeah.
I also had a really great cheesecake there, but I've made really great cheesecakes. But finding a great cheesecake in a restaurant is really hard because they're always overcooked and gross. This one was really good. But that shrimp and grits was really great. Yeah, I'm going to say the shrimp and grits because the shrimp down
It's
there is so good. It's so much better than the shrimp we can get in the store here. It's so tender and sweet and juicy. It's just so good. And the grits were really good too. So
It's
I
hard
like
to
that.
beat Bistro Byron's.
Yeah, it was really good. And also like not expensive. Because we
No,
ordered so much food.
it's a fairly simple menu. Like they just, they have it's a 2-page
So
menu
good.
basically.
Yeah, that is a good restaurant. And also I really liked something I'd never had before, the carrot souffle there, which was straight up like eating dessert, Myrtle. It was just there was no, I mean, I guess there was nutritive value to it because it was made from carrots, but it was
Of course, I
just
mean, if it has something healthy in it, the whole thing is bound to be healthy now, right? So you can say you ate something healthy because it had carrots in it.
I mean, Brooklyn ordered a second one for dessert because it was just like eating dessert. It was really, really good. So I like that too. And it was something I'd never had before. So yeah. Zenny has a bad cat named Muffin. Did you know that Big Kitty's legal name is Muffin Foreman?
Oh, really? Fine.
Yeah, but we call him Big Kitty, but his legal name is Muffin. Fat Kitty's legal name is Butterscotch Foreman. Tiny Kitty's legal name is Peppermint Foreman. And Bunny is Cream Puff, but we don't call them.
You don't call them any of those names at all.
Yeah,
And
unless you're really mad at them, and then
yeah, and Dog was Cookie. So, which I do have friends who would call her Cookie, but we called her Dog. So, yeah. So Coralworks suggests I plant mint and lemon verbena to deter Fat Kitty. I wonder if that would deter him. So I really love lemon verbena, and I actually do want to grow some this summer because I really like lemon verbena tea, and it's very tasty. Brooklyn and I were talking about that because she thinks she wants to grow some lemon verbena too. It smells really good. But I don't know if that would stop Fat Kitty. He is an asshole. Asshole.
He would destroy them anyway, but
He
just not eat them.
just kitty rage. I know.
all we need to do is because people, I don't know if everyone's convinced that Fat Kitty is bad. Just we need you to buy a houseplant, put it on the ground, put a camera next to it, and just watch what Fat Kitty does to it.
You'll just watch him chew it to the soil. I mean, especially if it's grassy. Like I had this really beautiful ponytail palm.
Mhm.
Oh, it was so nice. He fucking destroyed it. Just destroyed it.
Yeah.
We're talking about carrot cake now. We've moved on from sex and waterbeds, people. Now we're talking about carrot cake.
I like carrot cake.
Yeah.
I'm under no delusion that it's like healthy or anything. But
Jake likes carrot cake. I actually don't really usually like carrot cake, and I can't eat cinnamon anymore. I just can't. It's too hard. And carrot cake without cinnamon would be weird.
Yeah.
It would be weird. So,
It needs a cinnamon. Yeah.
But Jake is a huge carrot cake fan. So, and he would like it also with pineapple in it, and I can't eat pineapple either. I can't. No more. So
what was your favorite animal that you saw at Barnhill Preserve?
Okay, before you go on, you
capybara.
said what was your favorite animal, and I was so concerned. Like, wait, what? What do you mean by what animal you ate? Because we were talking about food, and I was like, "What's your favorite?"
Or the favorite animal that she ate would be shrimp, for sure.
Yes, it's true. Yeah. Also, that drumfish. I'd never had drumfish before.
Yeah.
And I always like to try new seafoods. It's very exciting for me. I live in a landlocked place, and my new food I tried was drumfish, and it was very good. So I liked it. The favorite animal was the capybara because I love capybaras, and I really like how it was like this little baby capybara, and the zookeeper, she came out and she was like petting him on his butt, and he just loved it, and he just rolls over for a belly rub.
Yeah.
I want Jake to have a colony of capybaras on his farm because he has a swamp on his farm. He has like a wetland. I will love that. And he has a bathtub and a shower. Why not get some capybaras, Jake? Come on. So he also likes I think he would also say his favorite was the capybara.
Well, they say they get to be about 175 pounds, like just a
they get
giant,
kind of big,
dense hamster.
But I think they're really like do nothing pets, which I mean, that's Jake's whole goal is to get only do nothing pets. I guess also do nothing
Do nothing
pants. I mean,
pants also, yeah.
pants should not do things. They should just be on your butt. Like,
Yep.
I'm getting demands from CoralWorks to rank my vacations.
So here's a simple way. Did you get sick or not? That's how you rank it. So
I did
Louisiana
not.
vacations so far are
Yeah,
good because
so
those you didn't get
I
sick
did
at.
not get sick
Yeah.
with the peas. I felt great. I was careful what I ate. Like I don't think I ate any tomato. Maybe I ate one tiny tomato. I didn't eat any cinnamon. I was really careful to avoid allergens, so that was good. They're just really different vacations, right? Because like going to Louisiana, I'm going to see friends, right? Which is wonderful and satisfying. When I go to some place like Costa Rica or Panama, I'm going to be more out in nature,
Yeah.
more outside, because it's kind of not the right time of year to see the peas it's still their winter there. It's still everything is brown and gray. It's not spring yet, but almost spring.
Yeah. You
So,
stopped by at a cold time too. Like right
yeah,
now it's
that's
74.
true. Yeah, it was a cold snap when we were there too, and we didn't have enough warm clothes with us, so we were cold. And Jake and I are cold people; like we feel the cold. So, I don't know. Like Jake and I were talking about, like we kind of put like seeing the peas in a different category of vacation, right? But we had a great time. But if we were ranking our vacations,
It'd be
I think
Panama. Like you like that better than Costa Rica. It'd be
Panama.
better.
I think Panama is I've in recent years, like that's the best vacation I've been on. That was great. Going to Canada was pretty great too. That was pretty great. Nova Scotia. Jake would say Vermont. We went to Vermont a few years ago, and he really liked that. So, but man, for me, Panama, like, put it on your list. Like, it's great. It's great.
Cool.
It's a cool place. And you can fly to Panama City direct for me from O'Hare, which is in Chicago, which is great. Usually I can't get a direct flight anywhere. So that's great. I want to go back to Panama. So
It's gonna be an annual Panama vacation.
I don't know, because like there's a lot of places I want to go. But it kind of does fill all of what I want in a tropical trip. Like I guess Jake would prefer more tropical trips that had more like land activities. But I just want to be in the water. I want to snorkel. I want to see ocean creatures. I want to see beaches and waves. And yeah, it was pretty much everything I wanted. But we did do land activities. So, whereas in the Bahamas, there were no land activities. So, and Jake is a land mammal. But yeah. But seeing the peas is great. It's amazing. And we're totally going back to see you guys again. Maybe we'll go in March next year when it's
Yeah,
a
I
little
think that would be a
closer.
good time. We could take you to the real swamp. Do a swamp tour.
And I would really, really like that. I think that would be really cool. But it kind of depends on like what days everybody can take off too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We went in February because Jake's work schedule, it worked out that way. So, but maybe next year we'll try for March because I would like to go on a swamp tour. I think that'd be a lot of fun because it's a habitat I don't know much about.
It's swampy.
Yeah,
Very wet.
but I don't want to tour the swamp in August.
No.
No, the
No,
bugs
good
and the
God,
heat
no.
and all, yeah.
I don't want to do
Humidity,
that.
bugs, heat, all of that, yeah.
Yeah, I'd get eaten alive because I'm really prone to mosquito bites and it would be hot and miserable and terrible. I don't want to do that. Like, you should come up here in August. It's not bad. Like, our summers
Probably be a nice escape from our summer heat.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. I mean, it's like 80s with like 50% humidity. It ain't bad. Like, maybe you want to be inside at like from noon to 2 or so just to be out of the the middle of the day, but you can totally eat dinner outside every night, and it's pleasant, except for the mosquitoes, but the
Yeah.
temperature is really pleasant. Plus, like, Michigan is very close by, and Michigan is a very beautiful state. And Eric
I would like to
Weinbach,
visit that
you know.
area, like go visit Foxy and Pepla in Wisconsin, and Jeff Kane is up there, and
Yeah,
like
so
everyone in that 3 or
Foxy and
4 state
Peplin are
area.
not super close to us. They are probably I think they're about a 7.5 hour drive from us.
Hmm.
Eric is only like 2.5 hours. Why are you not coming to see me, Eric? Come on. You say you like to drive. I'm right here.
So we
So,
had JNN Aquatics come in. That's a new name for me. So
hello.
welcome. Unfortunately,
Welcome.
we're about to send everyone over to Scotty the Fish Freak.
Rumor has it Scotty is giving things away. I mean, it's a rumor, completely unsubstantiated. We can't say for certain.
So this
So don't
stream
come
will
over to
take
us if
you
yeah.
right over to Scotty's stream. It'll do an auto redirect if I did things correctly.
You don't have to do a thing. The internet will take you there.
So thanks very much to our mods and chatters and lurkers and members and replay crew.
And new members.
And new members, yes. Membership gifters and whatnot. And we'll see y'all Friday night.
Yeah.
And next week for What Your Plants. So
bye everyone.
Bye.